You're listening to Unpacked, the Truth About Hoarding, a podcast that goes beyond the mess to explore the heart, humanity, and healing behind hoarding disorder. Hosted by Matt Williams.
All right. Welcome back to Unpacked, the Truth About Hoarding. And I'm your host, the commonly named Matt Williams, coming to you live from high above the Rockwellian Main Street of Irwin, Pennsylvania. And on this show, we explore hoarding disorder, recovery, relationships, trauma, and the deeper human experiences beneath the possessions. Because what we can see is rarely the whole story. And today, I want to talk about a simple idea with enormous implications. The map is not the territory. A map can help us understand a place. It can show us roads, boundaries, rivers, landmarks, and possible routes. But the map is not the actual place. It is a representation of the place. It leaves things out. It simplifies. It emphasizes certain details and ignores others. May be useful, but it may also be incomplete, outdated, or even incorrect. Our minds create maps as well. We carry maps of ourselves, maps of other people, maps of what is safe and what is dangerous, maps of what we are capable of doing, maps of what the future will probably look like. We may not experience or recognize these maps as interpretations. We experience them as reality itself. We do not experience the world directly. Most of us assume that we simply look at the world and see what is there, but perception is more complicated than that. Consider color, and I'm red-green colorblind. We look at grass and experience green. We look at the sky and experience blue. We look at a flower and experience red, yellow, or purple. These colors seem to exist completely within the objects. But outside of us, what exists is light interacting with matter. Our eyes receive information. Our nervous system processes it. And our minds create the experience that we call color. The same is true of fragrance. Particles interact with receptors, signals are processed, and the experience of a smell appears within our awareness. Even beauty and ugliness depend partly upon the observer. One person may see an old, worn-out object with no practical value. Another person may see beauty, history, potential, or the final connection to someone they loved. We don't live only in the world as it is. We live in the world as it occurs to us. Our minds select information, organize it, connect it to memories, compare it with past experiences, and assign meaning to it. Most of this happens so quickly that we don't notice it. We experience the meaning as though it were built into the object or the situation itself. Imagine an old cookbook sitting on a table. To one person, it is simply a damaged book that has not been used in 20 years. But to another person, it may represent afternoons spent cooking with their mother. It may contain handwritten notes. It may symbolize family, safety, love, or a period of life that can never be recreated. The physical object is the same, but the experience of the object is very different. One person is responding primarily to paper, ink, and condition, and the other is responding to memory, emotion, identity, and meaning. And this is why telling someone it's only stuff usually does not help. To that person, it may not be only stuff. It may represent security or unfinished plans. It may represent a person who has passed away. It may represent a future version of themselves they are still hoping to become. So if we want to understand hoarding disorder, we have to understand more than the object. We have to understand the map surrounding the object. Our internal maps are shaped over time. They're influenced by childhood, by family, culture, loss, trauma, by financial insecurity, by the lessons we were taught and the experiences we had. In short, by our beliefs. Someone who lived through poverty may develop the belief, anything useful must be saved because I may never be able to replace it. Someone who experienced repeated loss may believe, if I keep the objects connected to people, I can keep part of them with me. Someone who is harshly criticized for mistakes may believe, I must be completely certain before I make a decision. Someone who has been shamed or subjected to a traumatic clean-out may believe, if I allow anyone into my home, I will lose all control over it. Those beliefs did not appear from nowhere. They may once have helped the person feel safer. They may have been understandable responses to real circumstances, but a map created during one period of life may continue guiding us long after the territory has changed. The rule that once protected us may eventually begin limiting us. Suppose someone believes I am incapable of making decisions. That belief influences how they approach every possession. When they hesitate, the hesitation becomes evidence. When they feel anxious, the anxiety becomes evidence. When they postpone the decision, the postponement becomes evidence. The person begins saying, see, I knew I couldn't do it. But notice what happened. The belief shaped the experience, and the experience appeared to confirm the belief. The map created the route. The route seemed to prove the map was correct. And this can happen with many beliefs. I will regret anything I discard. I cannot tolerate the distress. I never finish what I start. My home is too far gone. No one can help me. Or I have always been this way, so I'll always be this way. These statements may feel like facts, but often they are conclusions. There is a difference between saying, I have struggled to make decisions, and saying, I am incapable of making decisions. A difference between my previous attempts did not work and nothing will ever work. Or my home contains more than I can currently manage and my life is beyond repair. The first statements describe an experience. The second claim to know the entire future. Our maps also include emotion. Anxiety may tell us, this is dangerous. Guilt may tell us, you are doing something wrong. Shame may tell us you are a bad person. Or regret may tell us you have made a terrible mistake. The feelings are real. They deserve to be acknowledged, but the conclusions attached to them are not always accurate. A person can feel afraid while doing something safe. A person can feel guilty while setting a healthy boundary, or feel regret after making a reasonable decision. A person can feel shame without having done anything shameful. Feelings are part of our experience of reality, but they are not a perfect description of external reality. They are part of the map. They are not necessarily the territory. Helpers have maps too. This is not only true for people living with hoarding disorder, but helpers also carry maps. Family members believe this person does not care. They are choosing the possessions over me. They are lazy. They are stubborn. Service providers may believe the only solution is to remove everything. They'll never change. They're being deliberately difficult. Those beliefs affect how people behave. They affect tone of voice. They affect patience. They determine whether resistance is interpreted as fear or defiance. They influence whether the helper asks questions orders. We believe the person must remain at the center of the work, not the property, not the violation, not even the possessions, the person. We must remain willing to question our own map. What might we be missing? What meaning does this object hold? Or what has this person experienced? What appears irrational from the outside but makes sense within their internal world? Understanding does not mean ignoring danger or accepting unsafe conditions. It does mean recognizing that lasting change requires more than just removing objects. It requires understanding the reality the person is experiencing. So how do we begin challenging an internal map? Not by attacking ourselves or not by saying that belief is stupid. Instead, we can become curious. We can ask, is this an established fact or is it my interpretation? Or when did I begin believing this? Was this belief formed under circumstances that are still present? What evidence supports it? What evidence have I ignored? What might someone else see that I currently cannot? Or what becomes possible when I treat this belief as absolute truth, or rather impossible? Perhaps the goal is not to immediately replace the belief. You may not be ready to move from I cannot change to I know I can change. That may feel unbelievable, but perhaps you can move toward I do not know everything I'm capable of, or my current experience may not represent every possible future, or simply what else might be true. That question can create space, and sometimes space is where change begins. So I'd like to leave you with one question. What belief about yourself have you been treating as an unquestionable fact? It could be anything. Maybe it is I am disorganized, or I cannot make decisions, or I cannot trust anyone. Now ask yourself, is that the territory? Or is it a map formed through painful experiences, repeated fears, and conclusions made during difficult seasons of your life? Your map may contain truth, but it may not contain the whole truth. It may show where you've been, but it does not necessarily show every place you can still go. The map is not the territory. The thought is not automatically the fact. And the feeling is not always an instruction. And the person you have believed yourself to be may not represent the full range of who you are capable of becoming. Thanks for listening. Again soon.
Thanks for listening to Unpacked, the truth about hoarding. For more information or support, visit fighttheblightinc.com. We'll see you next time.